Hi everybody, Mature Simmer. Welcome aboard to Airport CEO. So I came across this as one of the titles that caught my attention in the Steam Summer Sale this year, and tried a few things. I actually, for the first time in a long time, bought a couple things and tried them for, in some cases, one was as quick as 8 minutes and asked for a refund. This was not one of them, so I do have some interest in pursuing this, and so, as with any kind of sim, I share that pursuit with you here on the channel. So that is what I am doing here, is getting started and continuing forward in Airport CEO. So I've spent probably 12 hours or so in the tutorial getting relatively deep into the aspects of the sim. Certainly haven't touched on everything, but definitely spent some time getting familiar with how things work and so forth. But if you're new to this and are trying to understand kind of what the general concept is, it is basically a management of an airport sim. You're not controlling the flights, you're not doing whatever. You're making decisions on how to build, how to expand, and so forth. So I'm going to go ahead and start a new airport. Not going to spend much time or any time just modifying the avatar. It just appears in the corner. Really doesn't matter, but if you want to adjust things, you obviously can. And then the next choice you're given is where your airport's going to be. And basically, you have these choices, and I do love the style or the help that the creators have put into this, that there are a lot of tooltips that pop up when you're highlighting. So you can see we've got nearest city, the climate, the temperature, wind speed direction, the cloudiness, domestic airports in the region, de-icing needs during winter, precipitation, humidity, and yearly average. So for example, if I go here, de-icing is rare. We're close to Gainesville, Florida. If I pop up, over in that area, so okay, it's harder to pick accurately, but let's say I'm still not picking accurately. There we go. So if we pick, say, Cleveland, on Lake Erie, we can go over here to Toledo. We can go over here to Detroit. You can bounce around, and obviously, de-icing is frequent. There's 750 airports in the region, similar, there. But if I go down here, yeah, it looks like there's 750, but if I'm down in Mexico, there's 61. Go over to Russia, go down here, go up to Greenland, up in various areas. But you can pick and choose, and really this is an interesting way to make choices about gameplay settings rather than just giving you options like they did for creating the avatar of, pick your humidity, pick how often you need to do whatever, and then they go ahead and do things. Now, I don't see that in essence you're getting any kind of a biome selection and so forth as you play through, but we're going to go ahead, stay up here in the upper Midwest, where I'm typically at. Well, I'm going to actually, I don't know that it matters, because I think it's literally the same other than the name of the city. I'm looking at all the other settings. Pick this. You then need to name your airport. So we'll just stick with what the real name is. We'll just look Cleveland Hopkins. It won't let me type any more than that. And then it does limit you to 3 characters. It tells you that. Obviously, it's the IATA code, not the ICAO code. And, you can pick various logos and so forth. So that one's as good as any. And then you can play in sandbox mode, which lets you do whatever you'd like to do. And then, you can do a large map, which I think from what I've tested and seen, basically lets you have access to 6 squares instead of 4. And then you've got 4 difficulties: easy, moderate, difficult, and extreme. I'm going to go ahead and go with moderate just to change things up a little bit. That is how I've been testing or poking around with my first experiences. Loading time is relatively long, so I'm likely to skip over here. So we're on here. As you can see, airport is closed. Go ahead and pause real quick. But you can see we basically have 4 tiles. Every tile's $750,000 to unlock, so not inexpensive. Obviously, these are somewhat randomly generated. One of the times I came, I had water kind of right there, so I had to contend with, working around that. This kind of appears to be, I'd say, a little out of the way, because your main road coming into your world is there. And I think on any of the maps, I'm assuming on Sandbox, I haven't tried. Actually, no, I think I did load Sandbox, and it does have a start like this as well. So the difficulty is, for example, like you can only start with small aircraft, small pads. So if you go down to, say, aircraft infrastructure and then look here at an aircraft stand, like you've just got grass and asphalt, and at this point it doesn't even say small because it's what you've got. But these are small aircraft stands, and then you need medium and large for different types of aircraft and so forth, and you can only do that by progressing. So obviously you could go into the sandbox mode and just kind of turn everything off and say, hey, give me everything to begin with. So you can experience the game various ways, and you've kind of got this main item that you access via tab, and this kind of lets you get to all the things that you're really using to manage. And so there's a nice tutorial set if you get this, and I think it's on sale till July 11th, 2024 as I record this, which is about another week is how long the Steam Summer Sale runs, and I think it was discounted pretty heavily. But looking at reviews of the various airport sims like this, settled on giving this a try and really have enjoyed the experience. So decided, yeah, this is something I'm going to continue. So I'll share a journey here on the channel with you as we build something out. The difficulty with placing things versus something like a Planet Coaster or something like that, or some of the more, I don't know, building mods, if you want to call that, it's really 90 degrees. Like when you put things and you rotate them, you don't have fine movement that I've been able to determine. So it's not like you can put diagonal runways or anything like that. It's just, you've got limitations there. So for example, if you take a look at Cleveland Hopkins International Airport, if you look at this layout, like really all you could do is kind of, this would have to flatten out, that would go up. You can't really, I mean, you can kind of do that, but there's no point in building that way other than for visibility and aesthetics. In this case, you could do that because you're not putting any gates against it and so forth. It works out. So the map may jump around a little bit. As you click around and do things, it kind of does that. But obviously we don't have access to certain things at this point, and we'll go ahead and we'll just get things moving and start building. So kind of the initial thing we need to do is figure out where we are running things and how we're going to place items. So one of the things I have done here, we'll go ahead and look at the emails. They're actually pretty good, well thought out emails. I do like how they've done it. So we get a welcome email. Thank you for our last meeting, and I hope you like your new job. I know it isn't much at this point, but hopefully you'll do better than the last person who tried to build our town's proud airport. You've got a lot of work ahead of you, so you'd better get to it. I can't give you any tips because I really don't know how to run an airport, but let me remind you that you have a budget to keep to, and we count on you to get this place making a profit. Good luck, and we'll talk soon. Here's the most important thing you need to know. You press tab to access the management panel. Here you'll find everything from a management perspective, such as economy, staffing, purchasing new products, operations, and more. This is your control panel as a CEO. Press H to access the tutorial. It can prove to be quite challenging to build an airport, so this might be of great assistance. We at the city office want you to get a flying start, haha. So I've asked a few people with inside knowledge of airport operations to contact you via email over the day, so make sure to watch your email box. That's all, and best of luck to you. So we can just go back here, and we've already got Airport of the Year awards. So Anita Bath, and I like how, they've got clevelandhopkins.com as my email, and then they've got cleveland.gov as where they're coming from. So those little touches are pretty neat in a sim. So hello again, my name is Anita, and we met briefly over at the mayor's office. Anyway, as you know, once every year the Global Aviation Association comes together and votes on which of the world's top-ranking airport that is awarded the Airport of the Year award. Of course, the city really wants our new investment to do really well, so please try and win that award for us. Winning the award is fairly easy if you just put your mind into it. You'll simply need to maintain an average airport rating of at least 95% over 3 years with a lot of passenger and aircraft throughput. Yes, some would say that's incredibly difficult, but not for you, especially not with that thorough recruitment process we had. Here's the full GAA committee checklist for choosing Airport of the Year candidates. So, like they said, average 95%. You need throughput of 10,000 passengers. Haven't gotten anywhere near that in the time that I've done things, in a yearly turnaround of at least 150 aircraft. So that is all we have right now. It's day one, year one. I think there are 8 days in a year, because basically I think you get 2 days per season. So it will tell us things up here. Right now it's obviously telling us, so we can't accept flights. We have no runway. We have email. We'll get notifications as we go along. So the first thing we need to do is go into construction, and we need to sign contractors. And so what I was starting to say was, I have pulled some mods down from Steam Workshop that basically add real companies in. The game comes with obviously just fake companies. So we'll take a look here. So I'm not as familiar with contractors, obviously, like airlines and things like that. I would expect that I'd see things that were a little bit more things I'd recognize. I'm not familiar with airport contractors. So I know Brickley was one that I think was part of the base game, as was Highway, but I think then CFE, Farival, MetroStav, Piab, and Wilmot Dixon are contractors, I think, in Europe. So I think the modder that built this is someone who's European, so obviously they're more familiar with their local area. But the star ranking, basically, like if we look here, you'll see this information. So they can give us 63 contractors. They're giving some nice information, and it's $10 per contractor per hour. Brickley's 3, they're willing to do $6.2 per contractor, and they also offer 50 more contractors. If I go over here, let's say to one of the real companies, CFE, 94, 6.9. So, you can see the difference even with 3, where here it's 139, okay, 5.1, so Farival is our best. So, like any company, you're kind of looking through, what bids have I received, and, what do I want to do? So I think we're going to go with Farival, and we're going to go ahead and sign the contract. So there we go. So now, if we go here, We have accepted contracts, but obviously having workers is the first step we need to being able to build anything. So the next thing we need to do is go back here. Now we can see we have contractor data, and we can go ahead, and we're just going to go ahead and do a small deployment to begin with, and we'll deploy, and you can see now our contractors went down to 129. Little phone sound that shows us that we've gone ahead and done something, and oh, we have a bus. So I keep trying to drag it with the mouse so you can see going to the airport. So really good, thorough information. I've seen some reviews that basically say, you know, it's kind of a clunky interface. So now we've got contractors, but basically what people have sometimes said, you know, in the quotes as I was reviewing, hey, what am I going to try? There's some that people like that are maybe more graphically modern, I suppose. I mean, this I don't think is that old. So we've got this space. Now the next thing we need to do is we need to get a runway. And so the question kind of becomes, well, you know, what am I going to try to do? And so I think I'm going to go ahead, not really following, say, the real airport, because I don't know that that would make a lot of sense at this point. And so we can go to a small runway. You know, you could do a grass strip, but I'm going to go ahead and jump up. And you can see there's construction cost and operating costs. So we have $100,000 to build it. It's not, you know, that's our baseline. And there's an operating cost of, I think, $300 per hour. I can build an asphalt one, which costs $150,000, but the operating cost is less. Now, you could then, you know, figure out, well, gee, how long would it take me? And so once again, like I can do this, and then I can rotate, but that's all I'm aware that I'm able to do. My mouse wheel zooms around. You know, these are my controls. I don't have any finer control, because you really only have this one option to, let's see, can I zoom out any? See, I really can't. What I'm trying to figure out is the runways for each type of aircraft get a little bit longer. And so I'm trying to figure out the best way to lay things out so that I can effectively get where I need to get. And there's not necessarily a great option, because you can see the small runway takes up a good portion of the space. And if I recall, just adding a medium runway requires another tile. So, you know, it's like, are we building kind of which way? But I still, yeah, the real question ends up being, you know, how do I want to run these? And I think it might make the most sense. This water feature is actually really causing me an issue. I think maybe I'll go here, and we'll put this one closer, and then maybe we'll put the medium one further out when it appears. So we'll go ahead and we'll do that, and as soon as you place it, structure not valid. And per normal things, it'll, you know, put in the numbers 3618, but you know, because there are keys where you can you know, theoretically rotate, but that just rotates your view versus rotating the object. All right, so what is going on here now is, now this is a delivery truck that is going to give us components. And so now they're throwing out boxes, and so these are all the parts we need to build our runway. And so you can see the contractors get busy, and they get going, and you can see $150,000 an hour. So not great. We're spending a lot of money, and they're going and doing their thing. So this is then a decision we make of, well, how quickly do we want to go? So part of the benefit of getting this group was they have a lot of contractors. Whoops, I don't want to do that. I want to deploy. So we're going to call up and get everybody, because building a runway, that's going to take some effort. So You know, these 10 guys are doing a decent job, but it's going to take a bit of time. So, like any sim of this type, little progress bars over people's heads, you can see just a tiny bit of green. You know, it might be challenging. He kind of keeps putting the little box down, doing his work. You know, they're kind of everywhere. All right, first bus load, new guys, and they're immediately getting to work, so that's great to see. Okay, so what else do we need? Well, we need runway ramps. So you basically, again, grass $2,002, or we can go $6,333, $7,500, $2. So you know they cost a little bit more, but their operating costs are less. That's interesting. Oh, I see. Because they're kind of heading out in that direction. They're just a little bit shorter. Interesting. So I've typically gone ahead and used these. And so, you know, we want a ramp at each end. And so there you now start to see the water doesn't quite impact things the way you'd think. And so, you know, we've got that. We've now got another delivery truck, and as you might guess, what is it bringing? Things for the runway ramps. But hey, we're already done with our runway, so that was pretty quick. Building it all in a day. All right, so in the meantime, looks like we've got another email. So we've got Alejandro. My name is Alejandro Tinto, and I work as a Senior Partner Executive Vice President with Management Analysis at Accento Finance. I'm reaching out to you because you've recently been appointed the CEO of a new airport, and I wanted to give you some brief instructions on performance reporting. Following up on how your airport is doing is extremely important, and something that is done through performance reports. There are 4 categories of performance reports, including economy rating, incident, and operations. Anita has already told you about the rating reports, so I will dive into the other. Here's how it's broken down. If you have a CFO, at the end of each business day, we'll send you a report via your email on daily earnings. And if you have a COO, at the end of the day, you will see a report on the number of incidents and some helpful tips on how you can improve. That's all you need to know for now. But, you know, we're almost done with the first day. Things chug along decently fast. All right, so ramps are getting built and getting done. And so the next thing we need to do is get a taxiway. So again, taxiway foundation. So it's cheaper to do grass, but the operating cost is higher. So, you know, we're definitely gonna work with asphalt. So we'll get that done, and then we'll basically head on over and just connect across. And once again, we're now going to get that equipment. And so the water doesn't prohibit you from building on things. So it just depends how you want to play, and do you want to say, hey, I'm going to work around the terrain or not. So I should have thought of that as I was all worried about this thing. But so, you know, multiple trucks, but we've also got a lot of folks, and then, you know, we will get a taxiway built. All right, so now this is where we get into a little bit of the thought of, well, what's the terminal going to be like? And so my thought is we'll have the runways out here, you know, maybe across. You know, the large runway is going to take some effort, but you know, maybe we'll do something somewhere else. But we can go ahead and put airplanes, you know, in a different area, and so then that will require some sort of a decision on what we're doing with the terminals. If I make the terminal building here, so one of the things we can look at is there is a planning mode. And so if I go here, and now they've gone from yellow to white. So if I say, you know, that I've got kind of a terminal building I don't know, we'll start with something pretty small, and then we'll just go out. We'll go out a little bit here and kind of plan that's, our first set of gates that we've got that we're going to work with. And what I then want to do is line up some taxis or some aircraft stands, and I want 5 of them to begin with. So the walkway is what goes toward the terminal. Right, and that will work. I'm trying to see where my roadway is and so forth. But then what that means is I need more terminal foundation and kind of go out to there. And that will allow me to get to those 5 stands. But that gives me a bit of a layout. And so basically, we need the check-in counters and things like that. In an area, we're going to need security somewhere to get through. So that's kind of what I'm looking at right now as a starting point. And then we'll have to maybe expand as we go along. So we'll get our planning mode back, and then you can go to build plan objects mode, where you just say, all right, that's what I want to build. And so you don't have to then go select them, which is actually kind of nice. Where here I don't have that little icon of the tools, where I would have to have gone here, gone to aircraft stand and lay them out. So you can do it either way. But once again, lots of parts getting delivered, and we're going to get started with some small aircraft. All right, and then what I need to do is I need to build taxiways, or a path, obviously, for things to get through here. So that will connect that up. And again, we're in build mode. So we're going to once again get another delivery truck to get things for the taxiway. And then the other thing you need to design are your taxiway paths. So this is how things will get around the airport. So, how the planes will move around. So we'll go ahead and you can see, the pathing doesn't cost us anything. We've already spent $500,000, so it's not inexpensive. And then we head out here, and we just connect to each stand, and those red pieces go away, and so the stands are getting completed pretty quickly, which would make sense because we've got a lot of contractors. So that little pause there was the autosave. All right, and then the next thing we need to do is we need to build an air traffic control tower. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to put that right nearby, and they'll come and do that. And once we have that, I think we're going to be ready to start accepting some flights, which is wonderful, wonderful news. Now again, these are small stands, so we're going to be limited in what we can do, but we are now built and connected. And so now the next thing we do is we go over here, and the airport is open. And we're going to allow general aviation. All right, so the next thing we need to do then is we need to click over here, and we need to open the runway. So here we can do small, medium, or large aircraft, and then general aviation and commercial. All right, so we've got one plane that has landed. I'm going to turn some of these stands into commercial stands. So we've got 3, and then we're going to leave 3 as general aviation, or 2 as general aviation. So we'll kind of split what we can do. And so now you can see we've got a Learjet 75. It is here. it's landed. There's not much we can do. Alright, so the next thing we need to do to kind of get to the point where we can work commercial flights is we need to start building out a terminal and all that, and that requires some roadways. So this is now where we go to infrastructure, and the first thing we need is a vehicle checkpoint, which basically will allow us to have public roads change into service roads. So, basically the gate, the guard checkpoint, and then we can get in there and do what we need to do. And so then you've got public roads and service roads. You can, do one-way roads and whatever. And once again, just as before, costs more to build asphalt, but it's going to maintain. And again, we've got, an important airport here. So, it's an international airport, and that we're aspiring to build, and so we're not gonna go with little things. But look at that, we've already got our second flight here, and I like, it's wonderful how it shows, and I think they're using real airports, but they're general aviation, so they're going to be smaller. But Wilkes-Barre and in Pennsylvania, a town that I've heard of, I don't know, Worcester, looks like maybe Massachusetts. But, it shows you when they left. It was 8 hours and 59 minutes for that little flight. Again, it's a GA aircraft. It's a Cessna 182. And, they don't do much in the beginning. So, this isn't making a lot of money for us. So, it's kind of you got to spend money to make money. But you can see they're building away. So our service road is coming up, and they look very similar, obviously, to the public roads. But we need, obviously, vehicles to be able to get over to the location there. And then what I need to determine is, I think I'm going to place... I'm trying to figure out, do I want to place my support buildings up there? I think that would make sense, so I'm going to try to do that. So that means we're going to need to kind of build out. Well, we don't have to go further than we need to go, but well, I know I'm going to extend the terminal. I'm probably extending the terminal up, but maybe I'm just going across. Decisions. Alright, so for now, I mean, again, we don't want to go too crazy in what we're doing. So we're gonna head out this way, and then we'll just bring the service road back over in that direction. So the challenge ends up being, too, is like there's a cost per hour, like that maintenance of 67 cents that you saw. All these roads and things cost money. Alright, so we're connected, and then we want to do either a vehicle depot or a service parking lot. Now again, it's going to cost more, but I can do 7 vehicles here. So, I can do that. Pretty decent sized footprint. Or I can do a vehicle depot, which has a smaller footprint, and place that where I need there. So I'm gonna do that, because basically once the vehicles are out, yes, that's a longer way for them to go, but then as they're working, the things they're going to be working with are closer, is my logic there. So let's say that they're getting fuel, they're doing things like that. That's going to be important. And then the next thing we need is we need fuel to be able to be worked. So I'm just going to keep things relatively compact here. You know what, I can. Alright. So I'm going to fit that. I probably should have pre-planned. That would have helped, but in this case, if I can avoid using the real estate here where I'm probably going to need space for bigger structures, I'll put the small things I can in there. And so these are still the same flights. It takes some period of time, and eventually they'll depart and leave. And we're getting a bit of fees here and there. So if we go to the economy and the reports, here's the challenge. We've only got about 193, but our expenses are substantially more. So our cash flow, not good. Now the other problem we run into, we've got cows wandering through the airport. So you can fence in the airport. Obviously, again, that starts to have some cost. But, then you don't have things wandering around your property. So for now, we're going to go ahead, and you can gain back usually about half of what it costs to do to build things. So yeah, there's some cost to begin with, but if I do that, and the intent is, so let me look. Okay, we're operating that way. Yeah, that'll be all right. But basically then as things move around, like if the animals are walking on a taxiway, like the plane has to wait for the animal to get out of the way. And so it just delays things. So you are always trying to be careful with that. Now these guys will be super busy because, as you might imagine, there's lots of pieces to the fences. But once we start the massive stop the massive construction, we can kind of stop at that point. Let's see, what do I want to do? I'm just trying to figure out the best way to take this, and for now, I guess we're gonna head over to the potential terminal building, and then you got to put in a gate somewhere. So we'll put a gate in there, and then that lets contractors and folks that need to do things come in and out. So again, lots and lots. You can just see the boxes getting thrown out of the truck. Of course, as I zoom in, now we don't, but let's watch this one come in. And there we go. So they just get spewed. So they stack on each other. So you'll see, them take boxes, but they won't go through. All right. So now at this point, we've got a vehicle depot and we've got gas facilities. So we can start offering fuel. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is go get a fuel truck. So we'll order that. It takes a little bit of time for it to be delivered. So in 45 minutes it will get here. And then we need to go look at offered contracts, and we need to find some fuel. So you can see we have things like mobile. I'm assuming, I think ENL's probably rail fuel, but so we can get $1.35, and then eventually we're going to have Jet A Aviation, so they can supply both. So 135.33, where mobile's more. So typically the stars are going to give you kind of that indication, but it's always worth taking a look. It looks like ENL is best, so we're going to sign with them. And again, so we now have a fuel supplier and a contractor. But what that will do is we are now going to have a fluid supply trailer, and sometimes it does some goofy things because you can see it says leaving the airport. So it sometimes takes a bit for it to actually deliver. So it is a bit odd. I'm not sure about the dynamic. So a new product has arrived means things are coming to the airport, and the purchased vehicle is coming. So the fuel truck is roaming, not super fast. You've got things like assigned parking, job tasks. You have menus, so you can assign the parking structure, this and that. Obviously, it's empty right now. And that may be why the fuel truck turns around, because it's like, well, that's interesting. So sometimes this happens, and I haven't figured out quite like when it figures out what it's doing. So hopefully that will happen soon. But we have lots of boxes. Let's go see how things are going. Looks like we've got the fence line here. Where are our workers? There's a lot of boxes there, but just boxes, but no workers. Where are our workers? Aha. So here they are. And you can hear them hammering and drilling away. There's the fence. So now they have a fence. Everyone's doing their thing. But that, in theory, should keep animals a little bit more out. Let's see. I've never seen, like, does it... Yeah, see, it's almost like keeping them in, but I think eventually they will vanish. Now, again, I have not circled around here. And that becomes the challenge. Like, there's a lot of fencing we'd need. And in theory, we need it, but it's expensive. All right, so our fuel truck has finally come in, going to the parking object. We're still empty. And so, yes, coming in, not the most efficient thing in the world. So there we go. Our first flight is leaving. That likely means that we're going to have a new flight coming in. I don't think... Let me look at something. Alright, so what I have not tried is service roads over taxiways, because that's good to know if we can do that. Again, I would probably... Well, I mean, traffic does cross runways, so I suppose I could go across runways too. But, alright, but yeah, I think at this point it's kind of built the fence I have. But this would also then be quicker, and that would kind of give us a loop. So we'll see if that will work. So now it's going to the depot. I just need my fuel supplier to show up. So there he comes, and hopefully he's actually coming. Hopefully he's not leaving the airport. Okay, he's going to the airport. So that's good. All right, so at this point we'll do our next step, which is now we're going to turn on fuel service. So that provides another opportunity. And so you can see we have requested services, and that is fuel. It doesn't have hover points in that case, so we don't see that. And this plane, oh no, it is requesting fuel. So while it's here, it's going to want some fuel. So I was thinking because it was already here, it wouldn't do it, but it probably, since it wasn't at the stand, it was able to take advantage of that. But then that is another source of income for the airport. So right now, not great. We don't have any staff, but it's just, I mean, the good news is it's not negative 33,000 anymore. It's negative 26,000. So, and we're spending some money now. So you can see that going through. We're spending money on vehicle operation, operating costs, contractors, what we're spending on contractors and so forth. And then other expenses is supplier purchases will be the vehicle. And I think that is where our fuel goes. But there we go. We're now filling up our truck. so it is full. And good news is, yeah, we've got that, and the plane did, I guess, come over the road. I mean, I'll just have to make sure that we don't have a problem, but then that will help, because yeah, but then that theoretically means I don't know that I need this part. Well, let's leave it for a bit, make sure everything works. But he's going to come in here and he's going to fill him. So again, ramp agent gets out, or our worker gets out. You've got the fuel flowing. And again, it's a small little aircraft, so it took, what, 250 gallons of fuel. Not a lot. So they're leaving, but then that should mean we get another plane in here, and as long as it taxis out, yep, all right, so we're good. But then that means I don't need that. So I'm going to save myself some money right away, and we will remove that. You know, and realistically, I mean, I'm going to need roads, so I'm going to leave that. But, yeah, we'll just have to see. I'll leave this too, because we're going to probably put some more gates, but I may only be able to fit a gate. Oh, that's a fancy plane. What do we got? Pilatus PC-24. And again, they're going to need fuel, given that it's a bigger jet, although it's the same size as that. It's just fancier looking. I'm like, you know, maybe it'll take more fuel. But if I go over here now, aircraft, so we've got runway usage fees, parking fees, and then aviation fuel sales. So that was $500 of income. So didn't ultimately help my bottom line, but it's certainly better. So now we're at the point where we can start digging into some of the commercial aircraft, and so let's look at some infrastructure, terminal stuff. So we're going to need some doors. Let's see. These don't take any cost. I think $1 will be okay. We can do that. So we're going to place, it must be, oh, okay, because I haven't laid out the terminal itself. So let me go over here to build the planned objects. So, oh, it's literally gonna, okay, I thought it would do the whole piece. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to build this out. So again, hunks of money, that's for sure. Alright, so a large, whoops, and a large door. Oh, the large door is just, we'll go with a medium, because we don't have, well, no, we'll go with a large. We'll build a slightly bigger sidewalk into our main airport. So that will give us 4. Let's see, is that 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, so yeah, this is dead center in what we have right now. So that will build us a door, and then we're going to need to get people here eventually. And so the way we do that is we go to infrastructure, and we're going to need a bus stop. And again, that needs to go to the public roads, which we can tell because it just has a road. So we're going to place that right there. And then we need a car stop so that people can get dropped off that way. And so, like right now, our construction workers are busy doing the terminal. So, you know, they've got a good portion of the main terminal set, but Obviously, we also need to be able to get to the gates and things like that. But good news is, with 139 folks, we're going pretty quickly. Now, the bad news is a sidewalk, not inexpensive. So, so let's see. So this is honestly probably not the greatest decision, but let's see. I'm just trying to kind of keep it 4 wide so that it doesn't get congested and we don't have a choke point. But yeah, a lot going on. Alright, so they're done the terminal. I'm sure we have some people building these already. Yep. So we're going to have vehicles. Half tempted to do a taxi stand too, because, you know, it's just more people. Well, no, I don't need that. That's just $1,000. Like right now, like people will show up either way, so. And the bus is more efficient. But you can see our door is working. Everything is good. So one of the other things you can look at is these heat maps that show, you know, in this case it's walkable area. We've got passenger types. You know, we can display taxiway congestion where, you know, we don't really have any. And then obviously hide all the heat maps. So let's just take a look. I am really worried that we are, well, it's not insane, so I suppose that's good. We've only gone up a couple thousand, but I wonder if that's because the sidewalks aren't fully built. You know, but the problem is, like, I've got 3 stands that aren't doing anything, so I need to get those to the point that they are operating and that we're actually getting some income from them. So the next step will be to look at a staff room. So you have staff rooms and staff zones where, you know, passengers can't go. And so we're going to go ahead and we'll put it, well, no, that may become where I want a gate. Goodness. Where are we going to put the staff room? I guess we'll do it kind of up here in the corner. Alright, so I think because they want to control it, like it makes it, you know, that yeah, they've got those limits. So you could actually, like, the game will let you not put in doors and things, but you know, it is what it is. So to have some reality, we probably should put up walls. It's going to cost money to do so. Alright, so sidewalks getting close. Again, we don't have any people because, like, we don't have any need. Not sure what they're building though. Like, I've got folks doing stuff. Are the sidewalks not fully completed? I mean, we don't have all these boxes put away, so it's possible that's the situation. But then in the staff room, we need some desks. And so, again, they're 250, but they need them to be able to work. So, you know, we're going to maximize that. And then, you know, I'm in there because I'm the only employee. So I'm honestly confused. Like, normally this empties out. Like, they're not actually doing anything actively. So sometimes there are some weird quirks with the sim. But, so there we go. They're coming in. They should build those desks up pretty fast. And once we have that, we'll be ready for employees to be able to function. So now what we need is some staff. So we go ahead and we look at applicants, and the first thing we're going to need is some administrators. So the green bar is basically their skill set. So like this guy, well, he's inexpensive. You know, the higher skill an employee has, higher their salary is, but the better the skill, the faster and more qualitative their performance. They perform their job tasks. So, you know, we want to be careful with that. So we're going to hire Boris, and we're going to go ahead and hire, let's go with Audra. We'll get a couple, we'll get a little mix of skill set. You know, and I'm sure we can train them up and do things as well. But if we go to operations, this is where we then are able to start to do things. So commercial license, we want to start that project. We have 2 administrators, which is the minimum we need. And so you can see 0.6, 1.1. So even though it said 3 hours, it takes 3 hours if I have 5 administrators. But I don't have 5 administrators because we're hemorrhaging money. So I do want to be careful, but it might just make sense. So yeah, let's see if we can find 3 more quality staff. So we'll get Kim, we'll get Esther, and Sandra. And then if I go here, I can add them. And now we'll go a little bit quicker because now we have 5 people. And so within, you know, it's 3 game hours, I believe. So it takes, I don't know, 2-3 seconds to go ahead and go forward. Are these, oh, these are our 3 administrators. I'm like, why do we have a bus? But, so there they go. There's Kim. You know, and you can see that they need to go to the restroom. Oh, that's a good call. Restrooms. So we're going to need that. So you can see there's a whole bathroom section. So we're going to go ahead. You know, and they'll have stalls, and they'll have kind of what they need. As you can see, they're walled in, but we'll get toilets, and we'll put in 3. Get some sinks kind of right outside there, and that'll work for now. We'll expand the bathroom later, and again we'll get some walls. So I'm gonna go down. I'm just trying to figure out like if I wanted to put the door in the middle, but I think it'll just be easier the other way. And again, we'll throw a small door in, and then in theory we've got some space. Alright, so let's see how work is going. Not great. So we can't really do much until the license is finished. So we'll let that go along. Alright, good news is we finally have done everything, so I don't know what took a while with that, but it did. So to save some money, what I am going to do is I am now going to dismiss, I don't know. We're going to dismiss that many. We'll leave 16 contractors. But the help there will be then our contractor cost will go down. And so you can see that in 24 hours, like that lowers our cost by 6,000. Because, you know, we're paying $708 an hour. Now we're going to be, you know, paying a small fraction of that, basically 10% of that, about $60. So these guys are all coming in, but then they're all going to leave. And again, the contractors have to use the staff room as well. And so there are buses waiting to pick them up. Doesn't look like it actually tells us how many people are on. But it's the contractor shuttle. But we've got a nice steady stream of contractors that are heading out. And then we'll have, a group that hangs out, probably. So you can kind of see the queuing process and the pathing process for the game. Not the smoothest thing, but it works. So again, the other contractors that aren't leaving will probably hang out. All right, we have a plane that just landed. Again, fueling is done there. That's what that's at. Here we are, 17,500. So we sold 2,500. And because a lot of fuel is in the truck, we're there. You can see at 10%. We're going to automatically resupply, so that kind of operates appropriately. So there we go, project complete, commercial license, and we've got a new email. All right, safety and security. I'm Clara Default, a project manager down at the city office, and I represent our nation's aviation administration. We wanted to reach out to you and congratulate you on your new role, but also remind you of the responsibilities that come with it. At the Aviation Administration, we take security and safety very, very seriously, and we hope that you do too. Running an airport is a privilege only few get to experience, and now that you are part of that club, we wanted to run you through a few do's and don'ts that you should hopefully already know by now. Once you expand your operations to include passengers, the government will start monitoring your security rating. Always try to maintain a high current and average security rating to avoid getting slapped with fines. If your average security rating is especially poor for a lengthy period, the government may revoke your commercial license and revert you back to a GA airport only. Ooh, well, we certainly don't want that. The government will from time to time run unannounced random samples of your security setup to ensure that no passengers or baggage with a dangerous profile is accepted into your airport's secure areas. If we discover foul play, you'll be slapped with a fine. Finally, if an airline discovers that a bag with dangerous content was loaded on board an aircraft, or if a dangerous passenger boarded an aircraft, you will be slapped with a fine. All in all, we do hope that you take security and safety just as serious as we do. If any of the above scenarios occur, we will consider it a distinguished incident and send you an email with information about what happened and the repercussion. In short, here's what you need to know. If you have a commercial license, you want to make sure you have high average security, or you get slapped with a fine. Make sure you have skilled security staff and a correct conveyor belt system layout. If we detect security problems, you may get slapped with a fine. If an airline finds a dangerous bag or passenger on board, you may get slapped with a fine. If any of the above happens, we'll let you know via email, so make sure to check this inbox. All right, there we go. So, always fun stuff. But we now have our commercial license, so these little green dots kind of let us know we've got new things. So, information desk, while interesting, not necessary. Flight information display, similar. We're not that big of an airport, so we can do small check-in desks. So, I am going to go ahead and we're going to place them here. So we'll do a couple. Okay, so to run things, we need people. So we need passenger service agents. So we're going to hire 4 of those that have, decent skills. We need security officers, as we just read in the email. So let's see if we can find 4 good people for that job. And we're going to need ramp agents. Ooh, slim pickings. Well, actually, we're okay. 3. Come on, there's got to be better than that. Goodness gracious, really? Alright, looks like we got some new people maybe. But, man, alright, well, we'll come back. We'll start with 3 ramp agents. So that'll give us some staff. Alright, 13,000. So that's good, and that's probably because we got rid of all those contractors. Here come all our new people. And then in operations, we want ramp agent service. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is we need to designate a secure zone. So the other thing we need to do is we need to get rid of walls where we don't necessarily need them. So we'll do that. And then we're going to set all of this as secure. So there we go. Now it's labeling them that way, probably because there's still walls, but alright, we need, I'm not sure why they're not immediately heading and taking care of that, but they're not. Alright, so we have a secure zone, and then we need some security checkpoints. So let's, there we go. So if I do that, we're going to actually put them down here, but we need that wall to be gone. There we go. So we're going to we'll put 3 in. That will work. Actually, we'll put 2 in because people need to be able to leave, silly me. So, and then we'll put a security exit in. And we've kind of got everything blocked off. Not that we need to, but that just makes it a little cleaner. You know, and then we'll expand as necessary. Alright, costs are trending down, which is good. Alright, so then after that, we've got people checking in. They're going to go through security. The next thing they're going to do is they're going to board. So, we're going to need some boarding desks. Alright, so we can't, I say, block the gate entrance. So we're going to put one there, there, and there. And again, those are GA aircraft over there, so at least for now, so we're not going to worry about that. Now again, we have fewer, whoops, let me move those. I want them as close as possible. So there and there. There we go. So now they're right at the departures and arrivals, so we're not really blocking the gate, but here we go. So we're building one of our security checkpoints. You know, and then our people will have places to work. All right, and we're getting to the point where I'm going to wrap this first episode up. I know it's long, but I wanted to get somewhere where we had some functionality and so forth. But we'll get our first commercial flight to get in, but we obviously need the airport kind of ready to go. So until I have a security exit, so now there we go. We've got a staffed security checkpoint. Alright, so we've got a gate. So what I can do here now is I need to connect the stand. So we now have an operational gate. And we'll wait a little bit longer. But you can see, like, you can connect to a bus shuttle stop or a stand. So basically, is the stand connected to the building, or is it a remote location? Is kind of what that is. All right, so now our security infrastructure is set. And what I'm trying to do is basically get all the stands built and connected so that we have what we need here. So there's no runway, is why those are still showing issues. But if we connect that stand, and he's almost done. So there we go. We'll connect that stand. So now everybody's connected there. And then we can open our runway for commercial flights as well. So why is this still showing up? Sometimes that happens, but everything is green, so we should be okay. But what we then need to do is now we need to go sign a contract with a carrier. So for whatever reason, it looks like it's giving us a lot of European ones, which is okay. So I do have the vintage DLC, so we sometimes will get vintage flights here. But you can see small, 2,500, mediums, 6,000, and that's typical. So that's kind of the start. We've got Iberia, Havana's one again that's built in. Lufthansa. You know, the nice thing with these is we could have like they could grow into things. So right now I'm leaning toward them because they're the only one that gives me every flow. Alright, we're going to sign Lufthansa. Alright, so that should be a GA aircraft. And so then what we do is we go to our flight tracker. And so we have one flight here that is going to go from Youngstown to Cleveland Hopkins. Alright, so we're going to confirm for Wednesday morning because basically the airport's shutting down for the evening. So right now we cannot do any flights from 2200 hours to 5 a.m. So, and you have to schedule things 3 hours out. And all we can accommodate right now, because we have small stands, are small planes. So we've got, you know, a short distance to go. But I'm going to need to get through the evening. And maybe they'll give us some more opportunities for flights. Because you can see here, like, we can have up to 30. Now it says we have 3 because basically what this does is now for the next 3 days that flight is scheduled. So you can have a max of 30, and then it'll tell us if there's offered flights. Like there's things that Lufthansa's like, hey, we've got a route that we're offering you. Do you want it? And where do you want to schedule it? So I'm going to get myself onto the morning. We're kind of going to run at triple speed here. Okay, actually what I'm going to go ahead and do as well is I am going to place some bathroom facilities. Whoops, and that's why it's important to look at those things. Because see, now it's one secure zone, and so you've got one exit and so forth. So we're good there. People can come in and out. But let me get a bathroom facility. So we'll get, again, we'll start with that. And we'll get some doors built. And some walls. Alright. That'll give them that, because once they're in the secure facility, like, passengers are stuck. But then overnight we can have that built. So now we have many more offered flights. What I missed was I could have gotten them in earlier, so we're going to confirm that there. And we're going to grab that one. And we're going to confirm that there as well. And I'm going to place that one there. and we'll be all set. So at this point, again, I have 17 flights now. But again, that's over days. So again, like here, we still have everybody, but you can see now that one drops off on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we don't have anything at Gate 1 right now. So that is where, things get, a little bit interesting. And so the other view you have is now you can see we've got planes en route, and then, okay, so now there are 10 passengers at the airport. None of them are checked in yet. No one's passed through security. Have people gotten off the plane, and have they gotten on the plane? So now our airport is starting to be an airport. So here we go. People checking in. So the other thing we can do here is we can pick, whoops, it may not let me pick the gate easily. All right, so if I build a queue, like that will let me do that, and then people can line up a little bit. Small check-ins can't take bags. So that is a key. And I do like, that you can see their boarding pass. You can see their passport, stuff like that. See, but like they have, a bathroom need. And so having a bathroom here is important because otherwise they'll get very unhappy. The other thing they're going to get unhappy about is we probably want some gate seating. So in this location, I don't know that we need anything insane. So we'll go ahead and we'll place things kind of on the wall. We'll give them a little bit of room. And then we'll do something similar over here. I hear a plane. So I don't know if that's something leaving or not, but let's see. Yeah, he's leaving. All right. So we're getting close. So Lufthansa's coming in, but you can see they're en route. You can see if they're on time. All of that is going on. And so here, like the 10 passengers for our first flight are all set. So things are running well. Things are good. Everybody's kind of waiting around, but obviously there's no plane yet. Now here come people for the next flights. And this is then again where it's helpful because now, like you can see, this one's doing the one to Trenton. This other one, it's harder to select these. Normally, I don't normally put them next to each other, but there's not really a reason not to. And then Greensboro is the next one. So we'll just go a little bit further here, but you've now got passengers in the terminal. Small airport, we're not going to get too fancy too fast. Maybe we won't get fancy. All right, your first flight carrying passengers has arrived. What a milestone. So there we go. It's a Beechcraft 1900. So what we'll do is we'll get our first folks in. Now it's interesting because they have baggage services, but like we can't do that yet that I'm aware of. Oh, I see. So basically it's just doing that. It's interesting that it feels now it doesn't need fuel, but it just needs turnaround services. But there we go. So now people are sitting. They should probably feel better. I don't know, maybe they don't want to sit near each other. I'm not sure why all these people are standing around. Looks like everybody's checked in. Let me extend this queue a little bit. There we go. And because we're only checking in, whoops, I guess I didn't extend it. That's what I had done before, and it didn't look right. So there we go. But since the flights, I think, can take maybe 18 people, depending on the type of plane that comes in, it's not that significant. All right, so we'll see how the others go in a little bit. All right, and the other one is already en route for this flight. So everybody's arrived, so everything's going well. We've gotten the 17 passengers off, and we're, loading 10 and going forward. And this is telling us, why was it forced to go around? Okay. So consider adding advanced runway lighting, because it was, so maybe it had a hard time, but obviously that delayed things a little bit. All right, there's another one and another one. So both of our flights are in. Is this similar? Yeah, they're just, I think all the small planes for Lufthansa are that. And so you can see it's Lufthansa City Line, so they've got like the livery that they've done for these, so pretty nice. I know there are American carriers. I guess that's the last thing we can look at, is we can go and look at offered contracts. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not getting any of them, and maybe they just don't have small regionals or something. Oh well. Not much we can do. But at this point, so we've got people leaving from the flights that just landed, so they're heading out. Why they wouldn't walk here? I guess they're taking the shortest line to the exit. And then you can see, hey, they want a way out of here. So they will follow sidewalks. If sidewalks don't exist, passengers can't get to places. But then, we've got the airport. There's someone going to a car. So other than the terminal being kind of where it is, but I wanted to provide enough space. Again, I don't know if the sidewalk's insanely expensive. The biggest challenge is going to be that one leaving and turning around in time. So let's see. Nobody's boarded yet. So it's another general aviation aircraft. All right, well, we can keep going forever, but we'll go ahead and stop. Let's see where our economy is. All right, I like that. We actually made a profit, but that's probably because all those planes landed at once. But our average hourly, like now, we're not hemorrhaging tens of thousands of dollars because we have a little bit of activity here at the fledgling Cleveland Hopkins that we are building. So hope you're enjoying this foray into airport CEO. Again, just like anything on the channel, I don't really right now have set schedules for things. I tried that early on in the beginning when I had fewer things going on, but it's definitely more of a challenge. So it's really when things show up, but I am actually not going to be doing any kind of content creation for the next week. I'm not going to be around to do that, and so there will definitely be some delay. Like, you won't see anything for a while, but things will come back. But I do enjoy the sim. I mean, the 15 hours I spent in before that was pretty good. So let's go ahead and quit to the menu. Quitting to the main menu. All right, and there we go. So I do like, the letters and how, and I like how it's like, keep, continue airport, keep playing, load airport, get back to work, delete airport, erase your past, how as you hover over it, it gives you a little bit more information, this and that. So yes, of the DLCs, the Supersonic DLC is a free one, so we have that. And I have the vintage DLC, but I wasn't interested. Beast of the East is kind of the Tupolev type of aircraft, the Russian aircraft. Nothing that I'm terribly intrigued about right now, and helicopters also are like, it's interesting, but maybe in the future. But right now, I have not gone ahead and purchased those. So we're working with those things, but that's why we have some of the vintage contracts we could bring in the future. So hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, drop a like, and if you're not a subscriber to the channel, please consider that. Comments would be greatly appreciated, what your thoughts are, and if you're looking forward to more of this content or not. And I will see you next time.